coming to doctor, actually, and one of the reasons which in a lot of conferences you speak, and I have also, get a lot of people to speak to me on that front is somewhere we all believe, and all the audience today also believe that AI will be the future. Like, AI will be a very, very important part in the future, and everyone wants to make a career in AI and with AI, right? So there is a difference between a career in AI and career with AI, right? And what I try to tell with AI is that how you use your AI to maybe automate, make your customers happy, and a career in AI would be on an engineering track, but career with AI is on a management track, right? I just wanted you to explain that, is it data scientist the only role in AI today or in the times to come? Is it the only?
Yeah. I'll tell you. See, again, I go back to, generic domains first, and then I come to the AI domain. So if I look at, let's say, the cooking domain, right? So obviously there are people who have to do the actual cooking on the ground, is one level of people, right? And then there are people who create recipes, right? They are the chefs, right? So there are chefs, then there are everybody else below them, right? And the chefs are the real cooks, if you will. Everybody else is just, knows how to use, how to fry, how to bake, how to do this. So there are tools. So there are two levels in every domain, right? Same thing in construction. There is a city planner or an architect at one level who has a vision of how the whole thing will look like. And then it goes all the way down to the construction engineers, to the builders, to the mistris, to the labor, and everything happens. So you need all the layers at all the time in every domain, right? Same thing in airline, right? There's a pilot, there's a controller, but you need all the other crew. So AI as a field has place for many, many kinds of roles, right? You can be at the chef level, you can be at the cook level, you can be at the waiter level, but you can, find a place in this whole scheme of things. And how does a chef become a chef? He doesn't start becoming a chef on day one. Maybe if you're lucky, but you have to start from the bottom and then eventually you become a chef. That is how my journey was, right? I started not talking about all this unless I had understood AI from 20 years of doing it myself, right? So, but not everybody is that lucky or in the right stage in that time. So the idea is you can enter this field at any level, but you have to know where to enter this field. And this is what I want to talk about today. So let me give you an analogy, right? So if you look at cars, for example, so you want to drive a car, initially you just want to know the APIs of the car, right? You don't need to know how the engine works, how the brake works, how the battery works. All you need to know is what are the 5 APIs that I can use. My steering, my clutch, my gear, my brakes, my light, and all that. That's all I need to know to drive the car.
When you say API, it's basically the units you assemble.
Units, right? The building blocks, the interfaces to AI, right? So the first level of understanding of anything should be at the API level, not at the gory detail level. That's how you enter the field. So what you do, you say, okay, tell me first the capabilities at a high level. I want to know the what's, not the hows. I want to know, can AI do this, this, or this? Now you think, okay, what is it that I want in my product? What is it that will help my decision making better? So you'll say, look, if I could understand speech to text, if I could translate language from one language to the other, if I could generate speech from text, and if I could do reasoning, so these are my APIs. I don't need to know how they are built, but I need to know that a car requires an engine, whatever that is. I need to know that car requires an AC, whatever that is. But these are the 5 things that a car requires. Similarly, there are, if somebody can list all the APIs and say, this is what API is, like an architect can list that, every building requires certain kind of building blocks, right? You need to have a door, you need to have a knob, you need to have a sofa, you need to have a bathroom and all that. So those are building blocks. You don't need to know how to build any of these, but you need to know what are the building blocks. That level is the right level for people who are advanced in their career and who want to go back to AI and say how AI works. So first you need to understand what is available as a technology. So you might say, oh, autonomous vehicle, is it possible now? Maybe not now, maybe later. But if you know that, you can think what you can do with autonomous vehicle, connected cars, smart cities later. Because you know what the capabilities are and what are coming up in the future. You can imagine products and solutions, assuming they are there, assuming somebody has built it, right? Like we use a switch to turn the light on and off. It's an API. We don't need to know
Right.
how electricity is produced and transmitted, right? So
Right.
that is the first level, right? So going back to the car analogy, so if you just need to drive the car and go from A to B, is like building products on top of those AI APIs, right? We don't need
Right.
to know how the APIs work. Second is if something breaks down. So you're driving your car and your car breaks down. Now you need to be able to open the hood and say ki battery is a problem, engine is a problem, water is a problem, brake is the problem, whatever is the problem. So that is the next layer of data scientists who are not just applying data science and AI APIs to build products, but who understand how each of those parts work to
Right.
some degree, right? So
Right.
these are like people who are what I call modelers. They are not data scientists. They are modelers. They know how, clustering works or classification works or regression works. They know the APIs. They can use them. They know what is the effect of changing this parameter and that parameter. But they don't need to know the algorithm and the math, but they need to know the interfaces to apply them, put them together to build the next layer of products and services. So that is my modelers, and they need to know, how to take data, clean data, and build models, right? That is for people who are into this field from the bottom. That is modeler. They are not data scientists. People keep confusing. Everybody's a data scientist today, and that is what worries me. That you take read some blog and take a Coursera course, and now you're a data scientist, right? Let's not trivialize it. Right? So there are only 5, 6 data scientists in the world. Not a billion people are data scientists. There are only 5, 6, and you can name them, right? Jeff Hinton is one of them who
Okay.
invented something, right? Vapnik is one of them who invented support vector machines. So those are the real data scientists who actually know how to go to the third level, which is how to invent a new technology, how to
Hmm.
invent a
Hmm.
new paradigm, like support vector machine, like deep learning, like whatever else, right? And say these are the guys, right? The core statisticians who invented regression thinking or
Right.
classification thinking or decision trees. It doesn't matter how sophisticated a technique that has been invented, but the original inventor of those are the real data scientists,
Right.
right? We are not data scientists unless you have invented one of those paradigms. So we are either producers, consumers of AI, and
Hmm.
using these APIs, right, into building products. Our focus is products and solutions, and we are just using these APIs, right?
Right.
Second layer, we understand how the API works to a degree like a mechanic of a car,
Right.
right? Third is we can build a new car from scratch.
Hmm.
And the fourth is, can I invent a new paradigm? Instead of car, I want to now fly.
Right.
That is a new
Right.
paradigm,
Right.
right? Paradigm discovery, like deep learning is a new paradigm, right?
Right.
So those are the four layers, if you will, and you can enter it at the top layer or the whatever level, depending on your interest and expertise at that time.
Right. Yeah. Nice. So